Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Tea Time. Today's episode we'll be discussing a juicy story of an Upsilon love story. And here with me, I have Verones Padilla from the Indigena chapter of Spring 2001. Thank you for
Hello.
coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. I don't know how juicy it'll be, but what I can do.
I chose Veronos. Can I refer to you as V?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I chose V because I've known her literally my entire life and her husband, John Padilla, and they've been together since I was like born. So I knew they were the perfect couple to choose. And to start off, I just want to know, like, how did this all start? Where did you guys meet? Was it through MSU? Was it prior to that?
No, it was. It was so we had like passed each other on various occasions, but didn't like really meet. So like he was there the night that I crossed. Um he went to like a dinner party at a restaurant that I was working at, and I was like their server. So like there was like a couple times where our paths like met, but we didn't actually meet until Wanda, then Guzman, and now Boche was online. So I was really active that semester, and Wanda was like my little baby. Um, and I was with, I guess, chapter sisters, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go meet Jump. We're gonna, take number whatever she was. I think she was number two. Number two. We're gonna take number two to go meet John Padilla." And I was like, "Who's John Padilla?" And they were like, "What?" Everybody was like so upset with me that I didn't know who this guy was. And I was like, "Why do we call him by both his names? Like, there's not a whole lot of Johns. Like, I don't understand." Anyway, so like everybody, I don't understand how you don't know who John Padilla is. What the fuck? Where you been? Blah blah blah. You don't know anybody. Like it was like I was like offending them. I was like, oh, whatever. And then so we get there, and John and I met, and anybody who knows who John is, he's like a big old teddy bear. He just wants to like talk to you and get to know you or whatever. But it wasn't really like anything. There was no sparks. It wasn't like, oh my God, who this guy? I mean, I thought he was cute, but that was pretty much it. And then later on during her process, we met a couple more times, and then when she was going to cross, I was like, oh well, let's call that guy John Padilla, so that he can come to it. And then that's kind of like the crossing, and then that was like kind of the first time where like I don't know, I guess I saw him differently, and then we started talking on the phone, and we used to do AOL Messenger back in the day.
Oh, AOL.
Online, right? And you had to have a second phone line at your house if you were rich, because if not, then the phone was always busy. Um, and we went out a couple times, had dinner, and we've kind of been together ever since. It all happened very organically. There was no like tragic or like, oh my God. It all just happened really. He kind of became my best friend before he became my husband. If that makes
I
any sense.
love that. I love that so much. I'm a very friendship person, and I feel like once you have a strong foundation of friendship, moving forward just gets so much easier because you don't have to get to know each other while you're in a
Right.
relationship. Like, you know this person.
And we're very similar in a lot of ways, but we're so opposite in others. Like, where I'm more like, fuck it. He's like, no, we got to follow all the rules. And where I'm more like, like, let's have a good time. And he, he's more comfortable being home or whatever. So I'll like push his boundaries. He pushes mine. And it's a nice, I mean, he's my best friend, and no one's ever heard me say a bad word about him. It really, very, again, organically, it just kind of happened. It's really, I think it's like the opposite of juicy. It's like so boring.
That's juicy to me. Honestly, I like things that happen organically. Nowadays, people meet through like apps and social media. And I feel like that way sometimes it gets really hard and complicated because people put on
We
this
did we
facade.
did keep it a secret for a long time, like, well, as long as we could. because I didn't want anybody to know. It was like I had a couple of rules when I was young about like dating. I didn't want to date anybody with children because I'm crazy and jealous, and I'm not jealous, but like I didn't want to have to share that with somebody. And I didn't date anyone that wasn't either going to school or had already gone to college. And I refused to date brothers. Like I wouldn't even consider it. Like, oh no, no way. Oh. And so the fact that he was a brother was just like, I just thought it was so embarrassing. And then I remember one time my line sister, right? And she was like, "What is your problem?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think this thing with John's gonna work." She was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "It's just he's a brother, and oh my God, and that's so embarrassing." She was like, "Dude, like, do you guys even talk about the organizations?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Exactly. So what the like, what's your problem?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just," but then I got over it. I mean, every once in a while, like if we're like in a picture and we both got letters on, I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yes. Do you think that being married to a brother made working in MSU a lot easier because you had a partner that understood?
Yes, but by far, absolutely. Actually, it didn't just make it easier, but it made it possible. So like on days where, remember I said like we kind of balance each other out. Like if I'm like, "Fuck this," wow, he's like, "Come on, babe, do the right thing." So then I find myself, active or sending or doing stuff that I definitely wouldn't be doing unless he was like in my ear, like telling me to not be ignorant.
So he was like our voice of reason.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Anybody who knows me knows that anything remotely good that I do is because John told me to. He's like, "Don't be ignorant."
So what is your relationship like now?
I think it's the same, really. It's a little bit different now because we're approaching empty nest, so we're spending a lot of time together. Whereas 10 years ago we were on the run, taking this kid to that thing, that kid to the other, and now it's just us. And so we go out and we have dinner, or we watch a lot of TV, and we're always joking around with each other. There's always like someone's getting made fun of or whatever. And so we're kind of getting to just hang out again after a while of always being on the run. He was always traveling too. So we're just spending a lot of time together now. So it's different. We're going to have to find some hobbies soon. Once we don't have to drive those kids around, what the hell are we going to do with all of our time?
Ooh, couples hobbies. Do you have any hobbies in mind?
No, I would love to say travel, but that takes money. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to have to figure it out. I was thinking like, I don't know. John really likes cooking, so maybe like a couples cooking class. But then I might just be in his way. In the kitchen. I don't know.
Is he the chef of the house?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. 100%. He is the parent that feeds us. I don't do any of the cooking.
Wow, you're living lavishly.
I am. I really am. I acknowledge it every day. I know. Who live like this? I know.
So since you said you're going to be an empty nester, do you think like your kids would also be Upsilons and you guys could be a little Upsilon family?
So I definitely see it as a possibility for my son. He's actually, so John did the alumni chapter for LSU a couple of years ago. I don't even remember when it was, but shout out to Anastasia. I love you guys. That's not really their name.
Yeah. Anastasia. Well, I love her call Anastasia.
And Ito has said that he would consider, like, the schools that he's going to, a lot of them don't have LSU. Actually, none of them do. And so he's saying that instead of like doing like a whole founding brother thing, that he would consider coming back home after school and just pledging for them. And then it would be like pledging for like a family chapter, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be a chapter brother to these guys that he's known, like kind of like you said, right? Like his whole life. So my kids have been immersed in the LSU, MSU world. My best friends, Noelle and Jackie, and, you know, like they have been a part of our lives, and there's always somebody that connects us back to the organization somehow. And so it's very much a possibility for both of them. I think for my daughter, my hope for her is that she find a place that really feels like home, and not just based on who we came from.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Her and I we're really different. Like, she's super artsy, and she's, you know, we're different. And so I just want her to find an organization that she feels like home. And if that's MSU, cool. And if it's not, then whatever. Because I would hate for her not to have what I got out of it, just because she was like, well, that's what my mom did.
Yeah, of course. I feel like I was lucky enough where my mom was like the same way. She let me go wherever I wanted to go, regardless of my school. Obviously did not have MSU. I went to school in Ohio, in the middle of nowhere, but she let me be. And I agree, expanding is hard. Trying to be a founder is very hard. So I like your son's plan of waiting and not trying to kind of cater his college career to LSU, because then that just gets complicated, honestly, moving forward. So
yeah, he wants to be an engineer, so like he said, you know, I'm gonna be busy, so I'll just come home and do it. He was like, I'll just come home and do it with Franny, and then, you know, and then at least I'll know the guys who are messing with me, you know, like I'll be like, all right, dude, I remember, like, it's fine. So I don't know. I think that's kind of cool that he gets that. That's a totally different perspective than most of us got, right? Where you're going into a family that you know. So,
yeah, that's true. Well, this was great. Do you have any final words about your love story?
Oh, I see. I told you. I really wish it was juicier. It's just, I feel like I truly believe that I found MSU because it was my way to find John. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that.
Oh, that is so cute. No, I love that.
And you know, he's made my world better in every imaginable way. My reality is better than any of my wildest dreams could have been. And so, you know, it's so cornball, not juicy. But it definitely, I think, I found MSU in order to be able to find John. And then that worked. And we were just really meant to be together, because it's easy, right? I see young kids in relationships, and they're doing like the quote unquote, I'm working on it or whatever. And it's just, I feel so bad for them, because we've never had that, right? It's never been work a day of the 18 years we've been together.
And it shouldn't be. Organic is the best way. And I'm really glad that this organization brought you guys together, because growing up and seeing you guys are one of the funniest couples I know. So I was like, you know, they're perfect to talk about, to be honest. And yeah. I'm really glad we got to reconnect recently also.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, we were actually just talking about baby Rachel. Oh no, we were like, oh, remember? You were so cute.
But thank you again. I really appreciate your time. You were amazing.
Thank you. I thank you for thinking of me. I do.